From now on, Kuraki-san's radio recording will begin.
No illusions to live by!
Horror and suddenly when I noticed that it became connected with something else, suddenly horror is that can't be explained. Physics also is the universal suddenly principle and simple terms of observation affect phenomena. If someone tried to measure the temperature of hot water with thermometer, the temperature changes when the thermometer is present, so it can't be measured correctly. That's the idea. In simple terms, it means complex information can't be obtained. Horror, ghosts, and occult things are also but missing information. Physics is also but the limit of information. They share the fact that there are areas that can't be observed. I thought my way of thinking was close to quantum theory. Quantum theory is interesting for some reason. Physics, quantum theory, and also relativity are very philosophical. Physics is interesting now. Why it is religious. From what I just said, it shared something with horror and the occult. As I said before, there was a time when the world was explained with God, invisible things, and now there's a time when science explains it in that sense, and they are similar to. So science become obsessed with religion. Long ago, when people had already began to encounter science, physics itself looked like something occurred for some people in the past. Believing in God may have seemed more real in that sense. Physics may seem to look at reality more, but they are both similar. But there's something in quantum theory that's very fundamentally close to me. It's only observed phenomenon. Cause and effect can be fixed with suddenly. It doesn't add meaning. Complete information can't be obtained. It threw away meaning and only looked at phenomena. The structures are similar. I think cause and effect can be known with suddenly and quantum theory. Something is fixed till it is observed. I don't use anything except what is been observed. This is the coincidence. It's become like this because it deals with the world before stores. Quantum theory says world is probabilistic and decided I don't create stories. Quantum theory is a phenomenon because fixed when it is observed. My attitude is to deal only with phenomena, Next, science explains the world, but people say science doesn't explain why humans were born or why the world exists. The meaning behind that rather is that science can complain only up to a certain point, and after that it comes the job of religion. But that is wrong. The mistake is that it's already assumed there's a reason humans were born. It starts with that beginning sudden. Then it says science can't fully explain it, but meaning and life and things like that are, after all, matters of belief. They exist because someone believes in them. Going further, maybe those reasons don't exist at all. They exist because people believe in them. Maybe that is saying too much. But if we think about the role of religion, that is what it is. So the idea that science can't fully explain it is strange. Also, I think the assumption that science explains the world itself strange. It doesn't explain anything completely. Contradiction always appear, as I said earlier. As long as there is a suddenly principle, science can't say it explains the world completely. It isn't just that science is still developing. It isn't the kind of things where perfectly complete system of explanation can exist. I talked before about the actress at the affair. She laughed while talking about it. People criticize her for that, but even you ever laughed in a situation like that? Sometimes there's no hostility. Sometimes it is unconscious reaction. Sometimes emotion become confused because tension. A celebrity once said that when a child was crying in a studio, it was better to smile because it stopped the atmosphere from becoming too dark. I also laughed once during something a grammar school teacher said. I don't remember what it was about, but I got scolded. Still, I understand people's feeling. I think there was confusion, or maybe someone was trying to make the atmosphere lighter, or was being considerate, but people who aren't good at not think that thing, just think, why are you laughing here? And that actress was also criticized. People think, who is sorry about it? Why is she laughing? But everyone has a similar experience. Someone gets nervous and end up smiling. Someone try to reduce tension and start laughing. I think everyone has experienced it, but some people don't understand it. Next, there's only one, and I know through religion. Religion can be many different things. Maybe I made that person misunderstand something. Maybe that person think something but done to me, or maybe that is my misunderstanding. I don't know. That person may be listening to this podcast at that time. I pushed that person away, so it became a double regret. I've regretted it for more than 10 years, even though I'd like to express gratitude. Things happen that way, because that I can't understand people who have affair but truly regret it, and have another affair. Also, even if people get married, they get all the appearance change and relationships change. Most couples aren't deeply love after 3 months after child born. Feeling changed. So I think the appeal of love and marriage is becoming and communicated by it. Someone cared about me, and I care about that person. I think becoming intoxicated by that feelings important. If that's true, my feelings very different from most people's. But in the other countries, there are elderly couples who still hug and kiss. I think that is fine. There aren't many people like that in Japan. Of course, affairs aren't good. Morally, they aren't good. But when sometimes it's an important person and still is an affair, I end up thinking the power of life, love itself is amazing. They know it is wrong. Of course, if someone like being cheated, and that is a different topic. That's just a preference. It is completely different. I have no particular opinion about that. It can exist if it's when, but that isn't what I'm talking about. Thinking about this reminded me of elementary school and junior high school. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I said something to a classmate from the baseball team. I was treated as I was saying sometimes something ridiculous and was strongly rejected. I remember feeling terrible looking back. That baseball kid wasn't especially sensible. He was a strange person. The kids in junior high were also like country monkeys, so maybe I didn't need to take them seriously. Even now, I wonder if what I said was really that strange, but it came back to my mind. By the way, cheating isn't crime. There are so many classes of it that it isn't. It's something that can simply be called bad and then finished. And there are even biological argument that lifelong monogamy may be difficult. If I had lived in society, I probably wouldn't have had an affair, but I might have done something cruel to it and enjoy it a little. You might think that contradiction what I said earlier. I mean that I might have become close to a married person without going as an affair. I think that could happen. Also, I can't understand people who root and say it was good age or some excuse like that. Who I root are feeling frustrated. I became so frustrated that I wanna leave the place or disappear. Even escaping feels acceptable. It became the feeling that can't be described, and then people say things like, this time it's happened because this or that, and these are formed of rescue for themselves, but they don't heal anything. They are only excuse, even if they make someone feel better. That relief disappears immediately. I can't fool myself with that. That's why I can't say things like I wasn't feeling well recently, but I think about 80% of people are like that. There was a student in high school who lost in a judo class and started making excuse. Even the act of making excuse looked pathetic to me. Haven't you experienced something like that? Who people think about it carefully, they realize this excuse don't rescue them at all. But many people seem to be rescued by them when they feel unbearable frustration. They somehow manage to fool themselves. I don't understand how they're rescued by that. This is a serious story, but Nogizaka 46 announced the selected members for every single. I was frustrated because I accidentally saw a result on my smartphone morning before I didn't look at the internet. My smartphone, so This would have happened. I'm weak against change. The chance to see it properly was taken away. Then I was talking with Mom. I intentionally said the name of the different person. I thought Mom probably didn't know, so I wanted to check. I said the different name. My mom reacted just as I expected and said it would be better not to talk about it. Then I said, "You knew already, didn't you?" I don't know why this kind of thinking works. Situation like this. I moved a pet and said, "You knew who it was in the morning, didn't you? That's why you didn't say its name." Mom again said, "We shouldn't continue this conversation." I said, "That explain why you didn't say his name." I thought it was strange. Even then, Mom said the same thing. When I asked whether Mom knew in the morning, Mom said no. Then I asked whether Mom knew. No, Mom avoided the question, but by then I already expected that Mom knew. I'm bad at reading people are thinking about ahead like board games, but for some reason it worked here. I thought maybe I could trick Mama real. Not that there was anything to trick. I kept talking as if my mom already knew. In the end, Mom admitted that Mom know it now. This is a silly story, but there's a small problem. At first, Mom avoided answering. Mom didn't say whether Mom knew or didn't know. But later, Mom said Mom didn't know in the morning and know now. So the story changed. I was still talking about a silly topic, but Mom started saying that Mom never said Mom knew in the morning. I already knew that. Mom kept denying something that wasn't the point. It felt off. There was no reason to deny it so strongly. I kept saying the same thing because otherwise the conversation wouldn't work. I said that earlier. Mom was only saying we shouldn't talk about it now. But later Mom said Mom didn't know in the morning and know now. So the story changed and then Mom said, "I never said I knew in the morning. I knew that already. I never said Mom knew in the morning." The conversation just didn't match. I wasn't trying to argue about such a silly topic. I thought hard about what's the purpose of the conversation. Even words, I don't remember why I started it. In the end, Mom said I was picking a fight, but that wasn't really Mom's intention. I can't completely deny it either. If Mom didn't know, Mom probably wouldn't have wanted the name to be said. In the end, I said, "Mom, no, now, still talk like that." And then Mom doesn't trust me. Might think I'm lying, because A isn't the center. Mom still said we shouldn't talk about it. Then I thought that was strange. Mom knows it isn't A, and also know that I know it isn't A, and still say we shouldn't talk about it. Then Mom must know it's B. That's not how the conversation ended. Of course, Mom knew it was B. Also, I've been thinking about the cover art. I thought I was finished when I decided on the title, but I wasn't saying that. I'm continuing the life doesn't feel right. The upright, but to life itself and to daily life, it sounds like there's intention. in it, but there isn't. Saying that I couldn't stop also feel like it contained that story. I thought saying I failed to stop might be good, but the word failed also contained a story. I feel like it's still a little different. When I say I failed, it starts to shift because that's wrong. And if I say I'm still here, I start feel like there's something human in it. I also thought about saying not to create exit. When I was thinking about the podcast name before, I thought about not creating an exit called starvation, but exit itself is also a concept and story. Starvation's the same. Whose starvation prepared as exit when something's painful. Then there's exit. It can become a place to escape, or it can just be starvation. People can depend on it or try to be saved by it. But there's no exit. Then people think this is the only way to keep going, and their mind becomes settled. It seems to be me that having no exit may become starvation in the true sense, but think about it. In the moment we explain it the way a story is created in that sense, there's no exist, then there's no story, no ending, no meaning, and no purpose. I thought it might show the non-story nature of this podcast more strongly. I tried to record the late night English episode last night, but for some reason I couldn't. Apple back happened even after I woke up in the morning. I still didn't work. I was confused. It worked out somehow, but during the night I stopped there. Something like this happened. I'd regret it later. Why didn't do something? Instead, so I end up making cover art for 2 hours. Everything I thought about it in the morning became unless 2 hours were wasted too. But when I think about it, it's been the same thing for months. When I think that's why it starts to feel painful. It feels painful to think about my meaning action next to people believing in Kododama. People say words have power to change reality. If someone keeps saying they can do it, they become able to take challenges at this level. People are talking about the psychological effect, so it becomes something like self-help, but some people take it as a supernatural power. The problem isn't that those things get mixed together, then it ends up with people not knowing what it means. Talking about them as the same thing is a problem. Just remind me spiritual people, especially Sensi, and also distance, relative around my age. It was shocking. People who believing in spiritual things seem to never allow negative words and would experiment. I think it means nothing, but that doesn't work with people who trust the spiritual things, no matter how much you say it, unless they are strange people, even from psychology or science. There's no evidence for that idea, like saying negative words will make someone move in that direction. When I listen to people who believe in spiritual things, everything sounds chaotic to me, no matter where I look. It feels strange. I don't think it's one way to live, and I completely intend to deny it. People who tell others not to say negative things maybe turn it and saying like a fixed belief. Maybe they're like people who care about good luck things. Even then, it feels too unreasonable. It's strange to force them on other people who someone believe words of power. That's one thing. But forcing that belief on other people is more serious. The problem that they truly believe it's real. And I was in religion myself from the point of view of someone who was in a religion. People who believe in spiritual things are dangerous. When I was young, there were spiritual TV shows. I watched them and thought, what are those people talking about? I was in a cult myself. I believe in a next life, another next life, and karma, even from that position. And people who believe in spiritual things seemed strange. I never believed in power sport. Those people truly believe in them. Some of them seemed far gone. Have you ever looked at people like that and wonder if they're okay? People also say that praying mother to plant or speaking kindly to them helps them grow, but it's already been shown that this is scientifically wrong. Agricultural science says no, so people were fooled thinking it was true. This reminds me of when I was in religion, because people believe in the occult when and there's a problem. They don't try to solve what is thrown at them. Instead, they try to deal with something invisible and unclear that is just stressful. That isn't just stressful, it's beyond stress. When I stopped believing in the occult, when need to down became clear, I could focus on what I needed to focus on. Then I realized how difficult it would be. When I was in religion, it was like searching for something tiny in a desert. They made people do things like that, and religion takes no responsibility. If someone suffers, they say that if they don't want to suffer, they don't have to be so serious about it. Who believing saves them, that's enough. I think that is the stance of many religions. If someone become strange after taking it seriously, they say they aren't responsible. There's a painter who said that art is right that makes people realize the truth. What does it mean? The person in a painting isn't real. The character in a novel isn't real either. But people can feel sad because a character who doesn't exist. That sadness is real, and people can realize something through it. I think religion is the same. Believing itself is real. What people see at the time is real. That is why there are no facts in religion or life theory. They are all right, I know, because I spent 20 years in religion. People think believing will lead them to the truth that religion should. But if someone said religion is a fact, that is wrong. We judge it by whether it is factually correct. It looks like a lie because it is a lie. But through the story called religion, people feel something true. Still, there isn't a truth. The world itself, even if a fictional character in a novel or artwork helps someone realize something that character is still functional, that it is the same thing that the people listening to this podcast understand, even if facts are lined up. Truth doesn't always appear. Sometimes a made-up story makes truth easier to see. But if that is true, doesn't something strange appear? I said truth becomes visible, but that truth is also just a made-up story. Then someone may say that a claim that truth doesn't exist is also a story. What I want to say is not that the idea that truth that exists is a story. Truth itself is a story. It is the only framework created by people, but if the claim that truth is made up concept is true, then it seems like someone knows the truth. There's a similar structure in mathematics. Then people ask whether the completeness theorem and itself incomplete. That argument doesn't work. It is similar here. So the claim that there's no truth doesn't necessarily become a truth claim, but rather than saying there is no truth, I think truth shaped by history and culture. It is almost the same thing, but saying it that way may help the discussion move more smoothly. The discussion itself feels strange. It is just people arguing inside their head. For example, someone says that their best friend also trust them. Someone else says there may be times when they betray them. I think that discussion's pointless. It is interesting as philosophy, and I know there's no answer. But saying a best friend will absolutely trust you is strange, and saying they might not, also just stating the obvious. So I think both sides are unnecessary. It isn't that there's no answer. It just feels like an unnecessary discussion. There's no need to decide either way. But even though I say there's no truth, when time came when everyone clear, I know that truth doesn't exist, then that would be boring too. There will be nothing left for me to argue about. That reminded me, a while ago I watched the weekly NHK program. There was a artist I still dislike. It felt like that person was copying another artist. And it bothered me. Yesterday I watched the video podcast and thought the person looked like someone I saw a week ago. They may not intend to copy anyone. But some people observed think like that. The sponge, and didn't you know people at school who were amazing at imitating teachers. Some people are strongly influenced by speech, gestures, or singing styles. I remember that the person saw yesterday wouldn't leave my mind because they seemed similar. Speaking of similar people, yesterday I found another people with a similar face. Before I thought I would see that face somewhere, but the memory is from long time ago, so it probably wasn't the same person I looked for. Someone who looked like them, but couldn't find anyone. Then I found out their birthday was only one day apart from someone else. The year was almost the same too. I thought it was probably coincidence. There was another similar person too, but I couldn't figure it out. I was doing things like that. There was also a scientist who said the challenges give stimulation and helps the brain develop. To me, that sounds strange. The brain doesn't develop that when adulthood. I thought the phrase was too much, but maybe people need strong words to get attention. Still, I think it's wrong. I think taking a challenge is fine, but whose challenge itself can be virtue, then there is a problem. I talk about the recently I celebrity got a boat license even though they probably won't use it. The kind that challenge only as value because people think challenge itself is meaningful. There's a trend that says challenge is wonderful. I think people should keep that inside themselves. They should apply to everyone else, but that trend exists. If people saw it as simple self-satisfaction, that would be fine. Challenge itself is a wonderful. Someone wanna live based on challenge. That's fine. But saying challenge is wonderful. Everyone should do it. Feel strange. There's a belief that people who take a challenge are admirable. People who don't are passive. Many people can probably see that, but it isn't obvious why challenge itself is good. Many people want to live quietly, avoid risk, are satisfied with their current life. When I was in religion, people told me not to become stagnant. They said to challenge myself, change and improve. Even outside religion, people say things like that. Many young people seem to think like I think they always need more ambition and change. People also praise those who challenged themselves and failed more than those who lived carefully and succeed. You hear things like it doesn't matter that you failed, that matters that you challenged yourself. But people usually only say that to young people. It well really true. It should apply to adults too. At the same time, some people say that if a challenge brings no result, it was no meaning, and this is extreme. It's if people didn't treat a challenge as something special in the first place, there'd be no need to argue that a challenge without results is meaningless. It is too obvious. There used to be a rock band called Nirvana. They became huge. Their image and music were full of apathy. Because things like that, people misunderstand. Nihilism, originally question of object meaning and value. But in Japan, nihilism often means be cold, clinical, or lacking motivation. When band like Nirvana become symbol of it, the misunderstanding grows. Nihilism gets turned in a drama. If you search for nihilistic songs, most of them are hopeless songs, but nihilism itself doesn't necessarily include despair or loss. Still, I do feel mood when I see people taking a challenge. It depends on who is doing it and under what condition. There was a business person in the IT field. Many IT people seem similar to me. In the past, they sounded like people who only talked. They seemed overly rational, like they had big mouth. They seemed more interested in looking cool than saying grounded. But I saw them doing a triathlon. To that person, it probably had no practical meaning. They were sweating, struggling, and pushing themselves, saying that moved me. It was nothing but a challenge. I think that person also acted there was another challenge matching that moved me. I don't think challenge is wonderful. I don't think people are wonderful because they challenge themselves, but it can still be moved by seeing someone challenge themselves. At the same time, some people look like they're suffering. Many celebrities are extremely strict with themselves when older men take a challenge because they think they still can. I find it pleasant to watch, but I don't see it with good or bad. It just seems unnecessary. They lived shorter now. Maybe they should do what they really want. People, yes. Yesterday I listened to a podcast that was award for writing. There are many people like that. Some comedians become successful on YouTube or in other fields. I get jealous. It feels like they trust everything around one move. They seem happy, but I can't release that energy through envy. I just feel frustrated. I'd like to turn my life around to, but I can't. Like I said before, yesterday I watched something and I thought was a mystery. I was sure it was mystery, but it turned out to be a horror movie. Watching it gave me an idea. I thought about what I would have made instead. I was completely convinced it was a horror. Suppose the strange thing keep happening. For example, someone wins 200 million yen in a lottery. Things that seemed impossible keep happening. When coincidences pile up, people start looking for supernatural explanation like ghost. It's turned out to be mystery instead. What if there was no supernatural event at all? The world would be a good misdirection. I think I'd make something like that. It wouldn't be a lie. People do win lotteries. When strange things happen, people explain them through ghost or gut, and then they become more afraid than necessary. A movie about that could be interesting. The opposite also happened. Good things happen again and again. And people think it was because God chant prayer or fortune teller. Many people start giving in a bad direction because that. Also, I finally closed the window next door today. I worried about it for a long time, but if I spent all the time worrying, it would have been better to close it immediately for me. Doing that means checking things and talking with my mom. That takes effort. I also worry about causing trouble for my mom, but it's reasonable. Who I'm gonna spend all that time worrying? I should just close it. I finally did it today. What scared me is a trouble that comes from doing something I've never done before. Either way, there's a problem next. When I was in elementary school, I wasn't interested in idols. Maybe I thought one or two were pretty. Maybe I thought group leader looked strict. In junior high school and high school, there were popular idols. But I thought only some found like them. After I started staying at home, there was an idol group that had already been popular since high school. I thought they would know special feature and no especially cute members. I wonder why they were so popular. I thought there were cuter girls in my class than I met someone connected to Nogizaka 46 and started supporting them. Looking back, many lucky things happened at the right time. It feels strange that I kept supporting them for this long. I never had personally to become an idol fan. I don't like things that are popular with everyone. Just chance of me liking something accepted by the mass very low. When I was a student, I always looked for meaning. I hated to be losing. I did the same thing as everyone else. I couldn't win. Looking back now, I don't even know what I was trying to win. Then I stayed at home and left religion. Meaning slowly disappeared. My body became weaker too. the timing was perfect. I could support the comedy. My feelings didn't come too strong. They didn't disappear either. I supported them at a normal temperature. That is why I could continue. But even now, I think that liking something created a story. It creates the idea that one thinks better than another. I was never the kind of person who could create these stories easily. I always end up looking at things from distance. I think I'm showing favoritism, and then I cool down. Maybe I was already detached even while I was in religion. Part of me stayed detached. I thought there wasn't anything that wonderful. I could enjoy it with a hobby, but I couldn't understand supporting it that strongly. Even when I supported baseball, I recruited down quickly. It is strange that I continued this long. But this applies to therapy in general. I like people who seem responsible, serious, and are likely to betray others. Society doesn't seem to care about that very much. It often makes me feel different from everyone else. Yesterday, a guest on a podcast said that after becoming successful and earning more money, they could spend more on gambling. It made me think that freedom is frightening. When people get more money, they gain more ways to use it. Before, they couldn't spend it even if they wanted to. Now they can spend it or not spend it. Their choice increase. That freedom can lead to things like gambling addiction. Isn't that frightening? People seem to desire what they don't have. Maybe it is only me. Some rich people say they want to experience an ordinary life. Recently, I saw someone who had gone to private schools their whole life. They wanted to experience part-time jobs, so they did on YouTube. There are also rich people who dream about eating simple food at old ramen shop. I think many people are like that. I even saw a character like that in a TV drama. I thought I was the only one who spent so much time imagining being someone else. I thought most people only did it sometimes, but maybe people do it throughout their lives. Yesterday, I also looked up why so many women like BL. Many women are instead male romance. Most of the time it's manga. I never understand it. But when I looked it up, people said the object of interest simply different. Men and women often enjoy different things. I thought that explanation made some sense. Yesterday I watched a horror movie where a ghost was in love with a woman. Things like that were beautiful to me. With a art romance, maybe women feel something similar when they like beer. I don't know. It doesn't seem exactly the same. Some people say women like it because there's no female character to become jealous of it. Who that is true? Maybe some idol fancy thinks that way too. That idea surprised me. I also looked up why court cases sometimes take 2 or 3 years after crime happened. In the past, I wasn't interested in things like that. I noticed it, but I thought that was just how things worked. I wasn't curious. I still feel detached, but I became more serious. I also wondered what's happened if someone with dissociative identity disorder commit a crime. It seems that people don't become innocent because that's very often. I became serious because I almost never hear about cases like that. It is similar to me. People who claim to channel spirits. Of course, spirits aren't entering them, but some kind of Awareness probably remained. Otherwise, people would commit crime like in horror movies. This is also evidence that spirits aren't really taking over. Thinking about personality that way is interesting. Who gets awareness and no awareness at the same time? So maybe that idea that we are always the same continuous person also an illusion. At least that possibly exists. Recently, I watched mystery drama and looked for other things I could match. I kept searching out a tendency toward perfectionism. I need to see everything that can be seen. When I started reading the Harry Potter novels, I think I'd either read all of them or stop before starting. Because perfectionism, I often quit early. I know that if I start, I wouldn't feel the need to finish everything, so I stop before beginning. Finally, before doing something, I often feel free and relaxed. Most people probably feel worse before doing something difficult. Imagine having something unpleasant coming up in 1 or 2 months. When the moment finally arrives, I feel free. Most people would feel relief after it and or after enough time passed. But for me, before it began, when tension should be highest, I feel the most free. The moment I should be thinking that the time has finally come and I have to face it, I feel released. This is a problem too. It would be good if it creates healthy tension, but sometimes it makes me underestimate the situation. I'm not actually free yet. The real event's still ahead. Feeling free before it happens better than being too nervous, but it isn't always good either.